All right, what's up, everyone? We are back live, and oh man, what a crazy weekend! What a crazy weekend, man. First of all, just want to shout out to everyone that was here doing a live commentary yesterday. All right. Um, Again, like I said last night, there were a lot of channels all over this. Everybody was live last night. So, um, shout out to everyone that came here and stayed here, especially. You could have been anywhere watching this fight. You could have been at the fight. You could have ordered it, just listen to it for yourself. You could have been on another channel. But I appreciate everyone that came through, even just watching me, anyone that came through watched me, anyone that hit the like button, anyone that donated, all this new supporters or the old supporters. Um, Thank you. And I appreciate everyone that came through and stuck around. I know this live is kind of late. I know most people are probably headed to bed, and getting ready for the new work week. Tomorrow is Monday. Weekend is over. Everyone had all day to talk about it, all late last night. And I just wanted to give you my final thoughts on this division. This is not my first time making videos and making content on this division. I normally, for the last 2-3 years, I've had to constantly give you updates on the division because it's a very exciting division, but we're just not getting the fights as soon as we would like. Um, some of these guys have fought each other, and some of them will, which is good. So we're making some some type of progress. Some of these guys have moved up to 140, or will be moving up to 140 very soon. But there's still a lot of work to get done, and I don't want people to get things twisted. There's still a lot. It's just this division is still very incomplete. It's still a toss-up. You know, I don't know if all of these guys are gonna fight each other at some point, but I still think we need a little bit more clarity. Like, I don't think we had enough yet. We need a little bit more, you know. Shout out to everyone that's joining us. CMP, what's up with you, man? Ralph, Josh, Bedoy 34, and John Doe. I think all you guys was here last night. Uh yeah, and last night was a fun time, man. We had a good time. It was weird because when everybody showed up, everybody's like trying to be quiet because they don't want to disturb. That I was like trying to tell everybody, like, nah, this it is what it is. Like, you're here, have fun, Um, I know some of you probably overheard, all of the talking that was going on in the background, but like I said, I wouldn't have a fight party for a serious fight. I felt like it was a fun fight, and I just wanted to have a good time. I was going to cover the fight, which I did. When it came to the fight, I gave you my commentary like I normally do. It was, very loud in here, but at the end of the day, it was a fun fight, and I wanted it to be like that. It's like, yeah, I wanted to do the commentary, but I just wanted to have fun. It's a fun fight. It's not the top of the top of the top, and mainly because I wasn't really sure what Ryan really bought. I know how good he looks in previous fights, but at the end of the day, he was just still very unproven. In fact, out of all of these guys that I brought up in these 135 division updates that I've been giving y'all, he was the least proven. He was the least proven. But when you watch him, he looks very, very dangerous. You know, um, and that Javier Fortuna win definitely sold the fight. Even though it was just Javier Fortuna, it sold the fight because he dominated, and he had the left hook that was so fast we didn't see it. It sold the fight. So the matchup itself was good. It's just that when you really look at it and break it down, Ryan overall was he's an incomplete fighter. He's not a fully developed fighter yet. And I know Tank went at the end. I know the sportsmanship was top tier last night between the two. I mean, they both exchanged numbers, and I think Ryan just wanted to just I don't think it was any real animosity between the two. They got to do what they got to do to sell the fight. At the end of the day, they both showed a lot of respect for each other. Tank went on to say he was his most dangerous fight. I don't think any of us really believe that. I mean, we've seen Tank fight enough. We've seen him. All of his fights been more difficult than Ryan Garcia. I'm not trying to take away from what Ryan did, but there was no point in that fight where Ryan had any kind of advantage against Tank. All right. All of the other fights with Tank just about were more difficult. Now, did he give the same respect to Ryan as he did the other opponents? No, I think he trained to be his very best at his very best last night. But he also has the experience advantage going into this fight. So even though he probably prepared better than he's ever prepared before, he still had the experience over Ryan. Ryan just didn't have the experience. And again, he's not a complete fighter yet. I know he's around the same age as Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson and some of the other up and coming guys, but he's not developed yet. And maybe he gets there, maybe he gets better, or maybe he doesn't. I have no idea. I don't think this is top tier Tank fight as far as difficulty. I do believe Rolly was more difficult. I even believe Hector Garcia was more difficult. I thought that Leo Santa Cruz is more difficult. I thought that Mario Barrios. No, let me not say, because I'm just naming more competitive fights. Doesn't mean they were more difficult. So it's two different things. Competitive as in the back and forth. Yes, Hector Garcia was a back and forth. Leo Santa Cruz was a back and forth. But I don't think that either one of those two were like actually a threat for Tank. I think Mario Barrios was a tough fight for Tank, until he started walking him down. I think Rolly Romero was a tough fight for Tank until he got caught. I think Isaac Cruz was an extremely difficult fight for Tank. Tank was never really comfortable in that fight. So he's been in more difficult fights, in my opinion. Regardless of what he said, I'm just basing it on what I've seen. And I think he's been in more competitive fights than Ryan, just about almost all of them recently. And he's been in more difficult fights where it took a lot more for him to pull out the win, based on what I've seen. All right. Let me read some of the questions before I move on. Rich Poe says, good to see you, Boxingwave. Question: Did Tank's win make you believe that Floyd Mayweather Jr. would have a chance versus Tommy Hearns? I never said he didn't have a chance. I just felt like from somebody from the past, I think Tommy would be one of the most difficult. I'm not comparing Tank to Floyd, and I'm not comparing Ryan to Tommy. There's just no comparison. There's no way for me to even answer that. It just has nothing to do with each other. They don't fight the same. What's up, Ian? What's good with you, man? Travis Bryant says, when Tank gonna fight a brother? Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I've been hearing this for a while. I think a lot of people have called out Tank for fighting Mexican or Latino fighters and not going to the black fighters, similar to how Floyd did. I think that's part of getting the numbers. It's all about the numbers, and getting the Latino community out there. uh, to support the fights. You know, hopefully he fights Shakur at some point. I'm hoping he fights Devin Haney at some point. Uh, but not specifically because they're black, but because of the dangers and the challenges that they bring for the fight. You know, I want Lomachenko. I've been wanting Lomachenko. He's not a brother, but he's been a pound for pound fighter for years. Devin Haney, he's undisputed, and Shakur is one of the most technically sound fighters already in the sport. So I want to see those fights. All right. When you say a brother, they could throw him in there with I don't know, if they brought him in there with Frank Martin and he dominates Frank Martin, they're gonna say Frank Martin was too green, you know. I don't want to see a Frank Martin before those other three that I just named. I don't want to see it before Shakur Stevenson. I don't want to see it before Lomachenko. I don't want to see it before Devin Haney. Would it be a bad fight? Absolutely not. But it might be a fight that might happen. It might go down. You know, it might go down. And I only brought Frank up because obviously he's black. You know, but anyway, there's a lot to unpack. I didn't like the fact that they didn't go to the post-fight interview with him. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if it's been cleared up. And I'm talking about Ryan Garcia. Where was Oscar? Where was Joe Goosen? You know, where was Bernard Hopkins? Where were these guys at? I didn't, you know, I mean, I know there's tension between Oscar and you know, Leonard Ellaby and Floyd, and who cares? You know, even if Ryan abandoned whatever game plan they had in place, even if he didn't listen to his corner, you don't just leave him out there like that. You know what I mean? You just don't do that. You show up with him. You come out with him. Where was everybody at? You know? You come out, be classy. You know? You come out with him. The trash talking, the fighters didn't trash talk. The fighters did more trash talking all this time over anybody else, and they was respectful towards each other. It's not about you. It's about your fighter. You pull up with him. He has to go out there and speak after the fight. There's a lot of fighters lately that just haven't been showing up to the press conferences. I'm talking about the losers. Ryan lost, got stopped, and he showed up. So you guys show up. Red said Bernard on Fight Height said that it was the best not to say anything. Yeah. I started to watch it. I was watching it. I was listening to it while I was in the car. It's a very long interview. I didn't get to that part. But at the end of the day, I didn't see you out there. And I don't think there's any excuse for that. You know, you show up with that kid. That kid had to show up. That kid could have left the arena. Okay. And that would have been the end of it. A lot of these fighters recently that lost did not go to the post-fight press conference. They lost and they got out of there. So being that Ryan showed up, you guys should have showed up with him. It's not about y'all. It's about him. Let him know that you guys are there to support him, you know? So I wasn't really feeling that, but it is what it is. Even though I say Ryan wasn't Tank's or close to Tank's most difficult fight, I would still say that it doesn't necessarily mean that all these other fighters that gave Tank tougher fights would beat Ryan. The reason why I put these 5 guys in a photo in the thumbnail, and I didn't include a few people, but the reason why I have them there is because it's still incomplete. We still got Loma and Haney coming up, which is great. But we still got to get these other fights going. We still got to know exactly We could sit here and predict anything. I personally think Shakur is the best, but I also think that Tank has the best chance of beating him. You know, I think Shakur is the best, but I think Tank fights at the level of his opponents. I believe that. If he were to fight Shakur, I think he would level up. I personally think that Tank beats Devin Haney. But if they don't fight each other, it doesn't really matter what I think, because Devin Haney could go in there and outbox him and beat him on points. You know, same thing with Lomachenko. I think right now Tank Davis beats him. At one point, I did not think that Tank Davis would beat him. I think for the maybe last couple years or so, I think that Tank Davis beat him. But if they don't fight each other, I won't know. I think Shakur beats Devin Haney. I think he beats Lomachenko. If they don't fight each other, we don't know. When I'm seeing a pattern with boxer fans, when boxer fans believe like when there's a when there's a common opponent and you beat a common opponent better than the other guy, some people take that as he's better. Some people look at the resume alone and the accomplishments and they say he's better. Some people make excuses on why certain fights don't need to happen. And I'm talking mainly fanboys. We can predict whatever we want. I might say Shakur beats Loma. If they don't fight each other, we don't know. Just because I think that doesn't mean I don't feel like the fight needs to happen. You know, these fights should still happen. I think Shakur beats William Cepeda, Isaac Cruz. I still want to see the fight. Somebody was saying, people been saying Cruz will beat Ryan Garcia. All right, Cruz obviously gave Tank the better fight. Does he beat Ryan? I don't know. We would need it to happen. I don't know. What I don't want, I want us to have these debates. It's great, but I don't want people to dismiss the fight from actually happening because you are so strong. You feel so strongly about your opinion on how the fight would go. It's just a prediction. We could all be wrong. You know how many people left comments yesterday or in my breakdown video saying that Ryan was going to win this fight by knockout? You know how many people left those comments? Look what happened. It wasn't even that competitive. No. I gave Ryan 2 rounds. I think the first round was a throwaway round because nothing really happened there. It was a filling out round. And I gave Ryan a 6. That's it. I gave Ryan a 6. I think the 6th round was his best round. The second round, I don't know what this confusion of the scorecards is. It's a clear 10-8 round. Why? Because Ryan landed a couple shots and he was more aggressive. Okay, it was more aggressive. Cool. Not a lot of clean punches landed in that because Tank did hold him. All right, but at the end of the day, Tank landed the better shots and dropped them. What is the confusion? Why is it a 10-10 or a 10-9? What the hell was the judges doing last night? What was going on with that? You know, we see fighters get set up for traps all of the time. Just because you're winning the round or you're the aggressor in the round doesn't mean you're actually doing anything. It was actually the worst point in the fight for Ryan Garcia, in my opinion. They gave him the round when it was the worst point of Ryan Garcia in that fight. He said it himself. I mean, one thing I like is that the dude was completely honest after the fight was over. He said, I went in there reckless. I was trying to be patient. I couldn't be patient. I wanted to fight. I wanted to knock him out, and I rushed in, and he paid for it. So how do you give him the round for being aggressive when it was stupid aggression? It was dumb. It was reckless, and he paid for it. He got dropped clean. He got dropped. Same thing happened in the Luke Campbell fight. The same exact thing. So how do you give him credit for fighting so recklessly, you know, and not being successful at it at the same time? Garcia was down in round 2 in the Luke Campbell fight. Same thing. Too reckless. Doesn't have the patience. You know? What's going to happen next after Loma and Devin Haney? That is the question I want to know. What I will say is, if Loma win the fight, I do not expect the Haney fight. No, let me not say that. Let me not say that. I don't know. What I do know is that whoever wins between Devin Haney and Lomachenko, they're going to have to submit to whatever grounds that Tank Davis wants. They're going to throw the successful pay-per-view numbers. I know we don't know the official numbers, but they're going to throw those numbers in their face. They're not going to care about Undisputed. They don't care about Undisputed. They don't care about it. They look at it as a bonus. They don't care about Undisputed. Tank and Mayweather Promotions are going to throw that A-side thing all in their face. Haney, it would be easier to make the fight because Haney will be a free agent again. So he could go over there and fully negotiate with Mayweather Promotions or just suddenly, I don't know, just suddenly this, I've been fine all day, and then my nose just started, I don't know. What was I saying? Haney would be the easier fight to make because Haney would be a free agent. So I'm sure he'll do like a multi-fight deal with Showtime. If they are to bring him over there and he wants to fight, which he does, if he wins against Loma, he'll go over there with those titles. And I'm sure they'll work something out with Haney where, they'll probably do a multi-fight deal like the way they did with Top Rank, and that would be the easier fight to make. If Loma wins, obviously he'll probably still be with Top Rank. I mean, whoever wins, they're gonna force them to go over to Showtime and fight him. But as far as the negotiations, they would still, as the undisputed champion, will still have to submit to Tank being the A side. It is what it is. I'm not telling you if that's right or wrong. All right. I'm not talking about what's more important. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're undisputed or not. When it comes to prize fighting, they're not going to care about the undisputed when it comes to Tank and his end. Tank cares about the A side. He only cares about holding one junior title with the WBA, and that's it. Lower fees, his name sells. That's all they care. Putting asses in the seats. That's it. That's all they care about. The stars coming out, the arena being full, the pay-per-view numbers doing good. That's all they care about. And now that he beat Ryan, that's all they really care about. Beast LFC, thank you for donating. He said, do you think team going forward will be more inclined to face top oppositions or go back to their usual bullshit? Also, Tank prepares and performs better when facing better opposition, as we saw with Garcia, in my opinion. Yeah, and I think we've seen it before Garcia. I think he takes certain opponents seriously, more serious than others. First, thank you for donating. And it goes to exactly what I'm saying. What do I want from Tank? I'll tell you what I want. I think at this point, Tank, you already proved. I'm not arguing whether he's the face of boxing or not. I think he's one of the faces of boxing in America, period. All right. In America, he's up there. All right. I think, as America, you probably want to include Canelo because all his fights, except this John Ryder fight, is here. Okay. So I don't think he's bigger than Canelo. But in America, I think he's probably next. What's up, Young Hollywood? What's up, everyone in the chat, by the way? Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Excuse me. I think he's one of those guys. But with that being said, what do I want from Tank? I want Tank to do something that's going to build a legacy, and I hope they can really, really make the undisputed fight with the winner of Haney and Loma. Um, that's all I want. That's all I want. That's all I want from Tank, bro. You beat Ryan. Yeah, both were stars. It was all about the face. That's like I said. They care about the face. This is not about the best. They care about the face of the sport. If you're gonna run with the face of the sport, you did that shit. You won. Okay, give us a legacy fight. If Haney wins the fight, it should be very easy for them to figure it out, unless Haney or Loma gets extremely lowballed, you know. Um, and I think that's a possibility. I think that would be the only thing that really. What's up, Jims? What's good, man? Thank you for donating, bro. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate you. Um, I think that would be the only issue. That's the only concern for that fight. That fight should happen next, though. That fight should happen next because even though, even though, even though Tank is, a lot of casuals love him. A lot of people don't care about the belts and stuff. I think he should have at least a big legacy type of fight. Ryan Garcia is not a legacy fight. It's just not. Ryan is just not. He's unproven, and he's beneath Teofimo Lopez. He's beneath Shakur. He's beneath Lomachenko. He's beneath all of those guys. As far as resume and accomplishments, Devin Haney, all of them, he is the most underdeveloped fighter out of all of those guys. So I think with Tank, and let me say, and I see it in a thumbnail. I put in a thumbnail, fame versus legacy. It's not like Lomachenko isn't famous. It's not like Devin Haney isn't famous. People they know who they are. They're familiar, with these guys. What I'm saying, outside of the boxing community, people they're not as known, but they bring a lot. Loma bring his legacy, 3 division champion, unified champion, former unified champion, pound for pound, all of that stuff. And he would be undisputed at the time if they were to fight. Devin Haney, on the other hand, young, undefeated fighter, undisputed, one of the guys that you guys have tension. You guys got history, sparring history. There's interest. People know about you two. There's interest in the fight. People bring up Devin Haney's name whenever they interview you. There's something there. So I think the fight would be worth it if there's no reason not to have the fight. Now, when it comes to Shakur, that one is a little where, as much as I want that fight, I want that fight bad. In fact, I personally want that fight more than all the other fights. All right. Specifically because I think that is the most challenging fight for both. My opinion only. All right. I think Shakur, if he is to lose to anyone, he loses to Tank Davis and vice versa. Just my opinion though. But I personally think that is the least likely to happen. I just think that I could see Tank taking Devin, especially if he wins over him. Loma, I'm not sure. I think Loma and Shakur would happen first. I actually see, it's kind of weird, right? But even though Devin currently with Top Rank, at least in this last fight, so he has a relationship with him. He'll be a free agent. You got Devin, you got Loma, and you got Shakur, right? They're all Top Rank. I see Loma and Shakur fighting each other before I see either one of them, or before I see Shakur fighting Devin, or even before I see Shakur fighting Tank. I just see that happening. Like if Loma wins, I don't see the Tank fight happening. I see the Shakur fight happening, unless there's some kind of rematch clause in there for Devin Haney. You know, I don't mad. You know what? I don't even mind the order. At least just give me them. You know, but I think right now, I think the most realistic fight out of all of them, the most realistic one is if Devin Haney beats Lomachenko and he becomes a free agent and they go over and they negotiate and they work something out with Tank and we get an undisputed fight. Roland Curtis, thank you for donating. He says, what about Floyd Mayweather saying that he wants Tank versus Teofimo and Haney versus Shakur Stevenson? What weight class is best for Tank versus Teofimo? 135. It's the best for Tank because that's where he campaigns. You know? Speaking of Teofimo, obviously 140 would be best for Teo. All right, but Tank ain't moving up for anybody unless it's nobody. There's nobody big enough that Tank is going to move up for. He's going to bring them all down. You know, he'll have the advantage as well because they'll have to get drained a little bit. So why go up to 140 and fight him? Going up to 140 ain't the same as fighting what's his name? Ryan Garcia. He didn't go up to 140 to fight Ryan Garcia. He's not going to go up to fight Teofimo Lopez. He's not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. But if Floyd is saying that, I think it's realistic because let's just say Teofimo, let's say Teo beats Josh Taylor. And Mayweather and gives Teofimo a call like, hey, we'll take a fight with you, but you got to take it at 135. It might happen. All right. By the way, I'm not talking about what I want. I want what works for everybody else. I don't want another catch weight or a rehydration clause. I'm being realistic. Tank is going to put that in motion because that's the A-side bullshit that all of these fighters do. This is what they do. It's been going on. I don't know why Floyd or Oscar brought it up. Not Floyd. I'm sorry. Oscar brought it up. I don't know why these guys bring it up when they did it in their careers. You know, and the same with the fans. There's a lot of Canelo fans that's been complaining about this. How do you complain about it? They all do it. The A-side thing has been going on. I would like it to stop, but it won't stop. It is what it is. So Tank, being realistic, Tank campaigns at 135. Whoever he fights, it'll be at 135 or a catch weight that's going to be closer to 135 like Ryan Garcia was. And if they can't work it out with Teo, even if Teo just happens to beat Josh Taylor, if they can't work it out with Teo, they have plenty of other options. I'm not telling you what I want. I'm telling you what is realistic. We already know how they move. It is what it is. Well, Canelo did not have to fight Kovalev with a rehydration clause. He didn't have to, but he did. He didn't have to, but he did. Let's not pretend like he's never do it. It happens. Not me. Thank you for donating. He says Shakur versus Tank is the fight for me. Supremacy. It is. All right. But as far as supremacy at 135, the fight is the win of Tank. I'm sorry, the win of Shakur was Jesus Christ. The winner of Haney and Lomachenko is supremacy. Personally, I would like Shakur and Tank, but it's not going to happen. Not yet. Not yet. It's just not. You know, it's just not. It's not going to happen. Yeah, he did it to Jacobs too. Yeah, I mean, all right, this video is not about Canelo. It's just you know, it's people forget like stuff like that happens. You know, it is what it is. You know, um, well, I think Jacobs. Yeah, I think Jacobs was the IBF. I can't remember, but I know Kovalev was definitely a rehydration clause. You know, and Kovalev had just got into that war with Anthony Yard. You know, I mean, it is what we let's just say what it is, man. We know that Canelo drained him, man. The Canelo drained him. The guy just got he had fight 8 weeks before that, you know, or 2 months or less than 3 months before that. He was getting older. At the end of the day, there was an advantage for Canelo there. Let's be real. All right. Um, same day with other fighters. Same thing with other fighters. Floyd has done it. Oscar has done it. I don't know why people want to defend other fighters that's done it in the past, but criticize fighters that they dislike. All right. At the end of the day, Tank is not fighting any dangerous fighters at 140. He did it because at the time, Mario Barrios had a junior belt and they wanted to promote and market. He's a 3 division champ. He's a 3 division champ. Being multiple division champs is a big thing. Fighting for junior titles in different weight classes, fighting the easier champion in different weight classes. You know, I've said this about Adrian Broner. Yes, he's a 4 division champ. That's great. Not taking anything away from Adrian Broner. But at the end of the day, it's being selective on which champ you're facing. You know, people do it. It is what it is. Which champ are you facing? You being a 3 division champ, but you only had the Super WBA champ title at 1 division, which is 130 for Tank. So I would like, as a fan, there's a few things that I like. And I think many of us would agree to this. When it comes to Tank Davis, what I would like is for him to have a more credible win on the resume. For the people that doubt you, that credible win would be the winner of Haney and Loma for undisputed. And some may even say Shakur Stevenson already, because he's already a 2 division champ, former unified champ. I would like that for Tank. You know, I mean, bro, you already know what you can do at the highest level. I think you can even step it up even more, because I don't believe Ryan Garcia was the highest level. I just think the matchup was dangerous enough to prepare at your very best, because you're fighting a guy that is a puncher that was extremely fast and was much bigger than you. All right. But you took care of him like you took care of everybody else before him. Cool. I think time is when it comes to Tank, it's time to have that legacy fight. Give us one. Give us one. And I know when it comes to that, a lot of that is based on timing because of, you know, it's all about the politics. Plus, we got to remember, Tank already fought twice this year. In 2023, we're in April. He fought twice this year. All right. We still got to wait to see the outcome of the sentencing next month, too. So we still have things that we're waiting on. Right. But this whole thing is still it's a lot of unanswered questions. All right. When it comes to negotiating for these fights, though, unfortunately, the fame is going to trump the legacy fights, you know, because they're going to throw these pay-per-view numbers, whether it does 1 million or not, whether it does, even if it were to do 500K, they're going to still throw these numbers out there. You know why? Because Haney and Lomachenko is just not going to do better numbers. That's the sad reality about it. It doesn't matter if the winner is undisputed. They don't care about undisputed. Leonard Ellaby has said it on record over and over again. Floyd, one of the greatest of all time, never got undisputed before. Never cared to be undisputed. They don't care about that. You know, so it is what it is. But yeah, for all of these guys at 135, that's what I want from Tank. Shakur seems to be gunning for the best. I think when it comes to the top rank side, maybe they can secure him. I know Bob would like to put him in there with Haney or Loma winner, you know, that I'm sure that's what Bob is looking for. I doubt Bob is really looking to get involved in them with them in a Tank Davis fight. But at least on their end, do what they got to do. Shakur Stevenson, keep calling everybody out. There was a few fighters he wanted, he couldn't get. I know he wanted Cepeda. I know he wanted Isaac Cruz. I know he wants Tank. I know he wants Devin Haney. I know he wants Lomachenko. I know he wants all of those guys. So, you know, hopefully his time comes. Hopefully he gets a shot. And the same goes for Devin Haney and Lomachenko. You know, if Lomachenko wins, put some pressure on Bob. You know, go for the Tank fight. Make that call. Make them have Bob make that call. Put some pressure. I know a lot of us we put everything on Tank, but we want them to make things work out. You know, make the attempt and make it a fight happen because they know that us fans want those fights. So they have to do what they have to do on the top ring end too. But being realistic, we know that when it comes to Tank, he's going to be the A side. It doesn't matter how many titles you bring. You could bring 2 undisputed titles, championships for 2 different weight classes at the same time. Tank is going to want to be the A side. They're going to go to the numbers. They're going to go to the seats, the arena, the revenue. They're going to go to that every single time. It is what it is. You know? So that's where we're at with that. Teofimo Lopez, and I've been going back to him a little bit. He's still sort of relevant. Why? Because I think for a fight that's worth it, he would come down. And I also believe that if he is to beat Josh Taylor at 140 and having a win, a recorded win over Lomachenko on top of that, as far as resume, puts him in a completely different place. So we can't completely count him out. And if guys like Ryan is going up to 140, if Devin Haney will go up to 140 soon, because we don't know what's going to happen. That's another thing with Devin Haney. What if he's not satisfied with his options at 135? He says he wants to stay at 135 because there's a lot of money there. But let's say he's not satisfied with the options. Let's say he wins his fight against Loma and negotiations crumble and they can't work nothing out with Tank, or he doesn't, Top Rank doesn't offer anything for him and Shakur Stevenson or something like that. Let's just say he doesn't have any other options that are good enough for him at 135 and he goes up to 140. Maybe we get the Teofimo Lopez fight or Josh Taylor fight or any other fight that's available. You know, he might go to 140. Ryan is going to 140. Maybe him and Haney could meet there. There's a lot of options. I'm just trying to throw them all out there, you know? But then again, at the end of the day, I think as far as depending on the outcome of Lomachenko and Haney, I honestly believe that if Haney were to win, I think that is the most realistic fight for Tank Davis. The most realistic, if they can work something out. And I think they would be open to working something out with Devin Haney. They would be open to it, you know? But I could see the I could see the negotiations not working out because Haney and his father are businessmen, you know, and at the end of the day, even though they're not with a specific promoter long term, you know, they know exactly what they're doing over there. And I think that they're not going to get lowballed even for Tank Davis as much as he wants that fight. He's going to fish out and look for the best option for him. You know, it is what it is. You know, as far as Ryan Garcia, if he's going to go up to 140, which I believe he is, What would be a good comeback fight? Not for nothing, but it doesn't get any easier at 140 for him. It doesn't really get any easier at 140 because you got the top tier guys. Now you got Prograis, you got Lopez, you got Taylor, you got Ramirez, you got Russell, you got Sandor Martin, you got Sabrio Matias. It doesn't really get any easier up there, and now that people have seen how you lost the fight, he kind of got exposed in the sense that you showed how limited you really were. Oh, Rolly. Yeah, Rolly can definitely happen. You showed us how limited you were. And what I mean by that is for everybody that thought he only had speed, power, and a left hook, you kind of showed us that in this fight. Now, even though you improved with Gusan, because he did improve, what's good? What's the point in improving in your skills and developing if you're not disciplined? If you want to just get a rush and get a quick knockout, you're going to always leave yourself open to get knocked out. You're going to be vulnerable. So what's the point of having all that talent if you're telling us after the fight, like, yo, I just wanted to rush in there and give us a fight. He didn't have the patience. He rushed in. And we've seen it twice. Now, he was able to come back against Luke Campbell, but Luke Campbell, at that time wasn't really the top tier fighter. Luke has lost his big fights. And, it was no surprise that Luke lost the fight. It was a good test, but it was a test. It was his best test. And it's still to this day, in my opinion, his best win. I think the Javier Fortuna win is the second best win. I think he somewhat got exposed and I don't want to say that against fighters that take a loss and just totally dismiss him. But what I'm saying is he kind of got exposed. And like I said last night, bro, work on your game, man. Work on your game. Work on your game. Become a more balanced fighter. And please, 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 not just the discipline part. Please learn how to work on the inside, man. A little bit. It's like he fell in love with his hook and just wanted to master his hook. I mean, he has a right hand too, but work on having an inside game. That clamming up he did in that 5th or 6th round was disgusting. Have some kind of inside game, bro. Because you fight guys. You fight guys like Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, or Gary Antoine Russell Jr., or not Jr., but Gary Antoine Russell, or a Sabrio Matias. They're going to eat you up, bro. They're going to destroy you. They're going to eat you alive. As soon as they get through the guard or the hook, once they get past that, they're going to eat you alive. So if he truly wants to stick around and be a full-time fighter, which he is, I know he's an Instagrammer and all of that stuff, but if he really wants to be in this for real, like for the long haul, he needs to develop his game, man. Because there are fighters out here that stylistically would beat him. I think he beats a lot. I think he beats a lot of guys, and again, like I said, just because some of the guys gave Tank more issues, it doesn't necessarily mean that I think Ryan loses to them. But what I'm saying is now that you've been exposed in a loss and the way that you lost, you got to develop your game. And he's developed a little bit with Joe Goosen, but dude, he abandoned the game plan. And I don't think the game plan was enough anyway. I don't think, keeping it rangy was going to be enough, but it would have helped and it would have made it a more dangerous fight. I was expecting the first round to keep going to the second, to the third, to the fourth. And I thought the fight, as far as a breakdown that I did, I was predicting Tank to, at some point, you know, the dangerous part about this fight was Tank forces himself on the inside and lunging in and getting caught and countered in time. But because Ryan gave away his advantage, since he gave that up in the second round, it was an easy fight for Tank. Because Ryan tried to beat Tank at his game. Ryan was supposed to keep the distance. And he didn't. You know, he was supposed to keep Tank on the end of the jab. He didn't like, he said he was bored in the first round. And this is why he switched it up. You know, you can't say you're bored if you're trying to win. Sometimes you have to be bored to win. Say what you want about Devin Haney. I'm probably going to do the breakdown right away, just based off the momentum of this fight last night. But say what you want about Devin Haney. You know, I was watching some of the Cambosos fights, you know, just doing some film study maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. And I was like, man, the holding was annoying. You know, the clinching was annoying, man. It was. I'm not going to lie. It was. But the dude is doing what he has to win. He has to do what he has to do to win. You know, and I know Ryan wants to just bring a good fight. But when you say, I want to make a good fight, making a good fight is cool. It's a great idea until you get knocked on your ass. Because at the end of the day, when you said you were bored and you wanted to make a good fight, well, when you got knocked on your ass, right? You didn't fight like that in the second round. In fact, you lost confidence and you fought kind of scared after that. He fought kind of scared, at least until the 6th round. It took him some time. And guess what? He fought like that in the 6th round. And then in the very next round, he got knocked out. So it is what it is. You know, you have to fight to win. You know, you have to do what you got to win. I do believe that sometimes these fighters need to take chances, like Devin Haney, for example, the Gamboa fight. I think that performance was just too. So you played it too safe. I think there's a thing called playing it too safe. You know, I think when you're clearly winning a fight, you're clearly better than a fighter. You know, I just think, you know, maybe push to try to hurt this guy. I mean, he's far past it. You know, he doesn't really have much for you. Try to get him out of there, you know. You know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather was boring. You know, not completely boring, but it wasn't the fight that we thought it was going to be. You know, because Floyd Mayweather stuck to the game plan because he knew who he was facing. So for Ryan to say he was bored, it goes to show that he lacks discipline and he underestimated his opponent. You know, and not being patient is a huge issue when you're fighting specific guys. You have to, you know, Tank wasn't good against Isaac Cruz, but he stuck to his game plan. He realized the danger there, and he stuck to the game plan. He barely pulled it off. It didn't look good, but he got the W. It's about getting the W at the end of the day. I thought Ryan was going to at least go 3 to 4 rounds before he started taking more risks. But he didn't. He did it as soon as the beginning of the 2nd round. He paid for it. Devin Haney and Lomachenko is very, very, very hard to predict. I'm just going to say that right now. This fight here that we got last night, I think I put my money up on Tank before I did any film study. And even after I did the film study, it made me hedge it a little bit, but I'm still very confident that Tank was going to win. I think Ryan did improve, like I said, but this fight here between Haney and Lomachenko is very, very hard. Very, very hard to pick. I think this is a true 50-50. Um, I think they both have ways and certain advantages that they could use. I think when it comes to Devin Haney, I still feel like he lacks experience in fighting southpaws. Um, I was watching some of the Joseph Diaz fight, and I'm watching now. As I'm watching it, Joseph had some moments he was of success in that fight. First of all, it was a good fight. It's actually Haney's. I think Haney's better fights are the Linares fight and the whole Joseph Diaz fights. Those are the better Haney fights. I think they're better fights. As far as action is concerned. Diaz finished strong, pulled off strong at the end. But when I look at Diaz, I'm like, man, this is levels below Lomachenko. You know, um, Diaz did good, and he's no punk. He's no punk. He's gonna fight. But Diaz was always in front of Lomachenko. I mean, he was always in front of Haney. He was always right in front of him. He was always right where Haney wanted him to be. What I liked about the fight is that when I saw Haney fighting a southpaw, it made me notice the amount of body work he was doing. I think the angles of him fighting a southpaw it fits him to let his hands go a little bit more, or it might have just been because Diaz was right in front of him. I love the left hooks to the body from Haney. I've seen some of his preparation for the Loma fight. I see him doing a lot of hooks to the body, preparing for that. Based on Loma's style, you want to keep him out of there. He probably saw some of the Salido fight, even though there was a lot of low blows there. I think he's preparing to attacking Loma's body. I think what I'm expecting from Haney is Haney keeping him at range and looking to attack his body as soon as he gets in on the inside of him. I think he's going to be looking to make Loma very uncomfortable whenever Loma's in to keep him out. I think Loma, on the other hand, again, the experience, the angles, the speed, and the pressure might be a lot for Haney. I think Haney is going to be looking to tie up a lot when he's on the inside. Like, again, he's going to look to tie up. I think he's going to be looking to work the body as well. But I also think that, Loma and, once he gets in, he'll step out. And once he gets his rhythm going and he starts pressuring you, he's in and out. He's in and out. He's in and out. And he's throwing flurries. He's throwing combinations when he's in. I think that's where David Haney doesn't really want Loma to be. Even if he's preparing for it, I think he's going to struggle with that. I think Jermaine Ortiz, what I liked about that fight is that Jermaine was always letting his hands go. Even when Loma got in on inside, Jermaine was doing a great job taking, steps back and hooking as Loma was coming straight in. So what I noticed in that Ortiz fight was Loma kept getting caught sleeping behind the wheel a little bit, and sometimes he would just march forward and walk into some hooks from Ortiz as he was coming in. Ortiz gave him a great fight. That was a good fight. That was a very, very good fight. Very, very good fight. Roland Curtis, thank you again for the donation. He says, Ryan Garcia too civilized for the fight game. Oh man, I was thinking about that last night, man. He's just too friendly, but you know what? You know why I'm not gonna go with that because it definitely crossed my mind. So I'm not gonna act like it doesn't. When he's in the ring, he's not civilized. I think when he's in the ring, he actually really wants to knock you out. You know, Ryan reminds me of Teofimo Lopez when he fought George Kambosos. He's exactly that. And he's paid for it. He paid for it. That's Ryan Garcia to me in a nutshell. I think outside of the ring, he seems to be a friendly kid. I think he's a terrible trash talker. All right. I think that he seems like a really spiritual kid. And, he doesn't seem like, he just seems like a really nice guy, but in the ring, he's always trying to knock you out. That's it. So it doesn't matter if he's just like a nice guy after the fight. I think he even said like I want to be friends after the fight, and he clearly just wants to be friends. I mean, he even made Tank be nice for him. I mean, I thought Tank was gonna go in and drag him at the end of the fight. I thought he was gonna drag him for all of. Tank was just like real chill. He gave him a hug and a pound a million times. They exchanged numbers. I don't think Tank is ever gonna drag him. Like he's not gonna do how he did with Rolly. You know what I mean? I just don't think that. Oh yeah, please, yeah. Thank you, Old Dirty Box and the Old Dirty. Hit that like button and support the channel. Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely. Let's get over 100 likes, man. We've had over 100 viewers for a little while. Let's get over 100 likes. I appreciate if you guys smash the like button real quick. Yeah, I know you guys been leaving a lot of comments, and but I really wanted to get this off. Shout out to all you guys that's in here, man. I know it's shout out to my man, Jason. He was in here. I saw you in here earlier. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat, man. Young Hollywood, Flo Jabs, Josh, Glenn R, EK, Dry Water, Beth Animal, J.O. Pilot, I see you. Samuel Biggs, I see you. Rocket Andretti, Jose Garcia, Team Hatters, my boy Jason for Team Hazardous, Victory Dance, and everybody that's in here, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. Brian Garcia says, dude was starved and dehydrated, and I want to see it at 140. So this is the thing about that. He was brought down, and he probably was drained a little bit. But this is the thing, and I don't know. This is the way I look at it. It kind of reminds me of AJ versus this guy. Who did he get knocked out by? Joshua against Andy Ruiz. Everybody was saying after AJ got knocked out that he wasn't himself. The rumors came out about him getting knocked out in sparring. People paid attention to the bruise that he had on his face, the mark. He was concussed in sparring. A lot of people said a lot of things on why he lost the fight. He wasn't right. He wasn't fully recovered and all of that good stuff. My answer to that was, even if that's true, and if he wasn't himself, he fought the wrong fight. He fought the wrong fight. And what I mean by that is everything was fine. He dropped Ruiz, but he got reckless. He got reckless. I said this then, and I'm saying it again now. He got reckless. He dropped Ruiz, tried to get him out of there, right, quickly, because he was in New York, right? He wanted to get it over with. He wanted to get the KO. Wilder had just knocked out Dominic Brazil 2 weeks before that, right? And that went viral. And he gave up his advantage by getting on the inside and trying to trade hooks with the faster, shorter Ryan Garcia. Not Ryan, Andy Ruiz, and got knocked out. Not knocked out, but at that point, At that point, he got dropped and he was never the same again. I say the same from Ryan Garcia. Even if you don't think he was 100% and he was drained, he fought the wrong fight. He had a game plan. We saw the game plan in the first round that I gave him. In the second round, he abandoned it because he was bored. He didn't look drained when he was trying to destroy Tank Davis in that second round before he got dropped. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, whether you're injured before the fight, whether you're drained because you agreed to these terms, at the end of the day, these guys abandoned what advantages they had in the ring. So going with the outcome of, well, he lost because he was drained is bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because fighters are drained all of the time. You agreed to it. You fought him there. And you lost. And you lost because you fought in a stupid way. That fight didn't go anywhere near where I thought it was going to go. Even with me putting my money on Tank, I don't think any of us was predicting Ryan to come out like that in the second round. Again, it reminded me of Teofimo Lopez rushing George Kambosos early and getting dropped in the first round. It even reminded me of Manny Pacquiao and Marquez 4. Manny Pacquiao went into that fight wanting to absolutely demolish Marquez. You know why? Because he was tired of hearing about people feeling that he never really legitimately won a fight against Marquez. All that's the fourth time to fight. People thought Marquez won the third fight, the second fight. The numbers was all messed up. The judging was all messed up in the first fight. Manny Pacquiao tried to violate Marquez in that fourth fight. And as good as he was doing, he kept running into counters. Marquez dropped him early in the fight, dropped him again later in the fight, and knocked him out in one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. You know why? Because you was too reckless. You was rushing to get the KO. You wanted the KO so bad that you abandoned your tactics. It made for a good fight. The fourth fight was way better than the third fight, but you paid for it. So going with the excuse of Ryan lost because he was drained, that's lazy. It's just lazy to even say that. Bro, you know what you have to do. You told us yourself, I was bored. That cancels the draining thing. He might have been drained. He might have been tired. He might have been better at 140. But we're not, you going based on something we haven't even really seen. Because at 140, all we seen him do is fight Javier Fortuna, who don't fight at 140. He has done nothing at 140. So we're saying, oh, he'd be better at 140. Maybe or maybe not. Is he going to be better at 140 or they're going to demolish him at 140? Because I guess what? Guess what? If he's going up to 140, they're all waiting to get their opportunity to fight him. All of them. All those guys I named earlier, they're all waiting to get the opportunity. All we got was Javier Fortuna and Emmanuel Tago. That's it. So we're not going to give that excuse. Guys lose fights all the time because they are rushing for the knockout. We see it. It's common. They just want, it's a lot of tension sometimes, or they want to prove something. And Ryan has proven that he is not a disciplined fighter. And what I mean by that, I don't mean about preparation. I'm talking about in the ring on fight night. He is thirsty for the knockout. And maybe he's not. Hey, maybe we never know. Maybe he's not disciplined when it comes to that because maybe he feels that he's going to fade later. Maybe he's worried and concerned about getting outboxed later. Maybe he feels that if he overwhelms whoever he's facing early, he won't have to go to the later rounds. And he knows that Tank was looking to drown him late. That's what Tank said. I'm going to get you in the later rounds. I'm going to drown you in the later rounds. Maybe Ryan felt like, you know what? He's trying to strategically beat me by seeing me giving away everything in the early rounds so he can beat me later. So Ryan probably said, I'm going to just get you out of here early. I don't want you to get information on me. I don't want you to study my punches and learn how to get away from them as the rounds go on. I want to get you out of here now. He probably went in the first round feeling like, hey, this guy is clearly trying to study me. I want to get him out of there. And he paid the price. You know? I think the Rolly fight is a realistic fight. That would be a cool fight. That would be a cool fight. Rolly's gonna be fighting for a vacant title at 140. So I could see, I think that's probably the most realistic fight for Ryan Garcia at 140. So the way I look at Ryan, I don't see him going straight into fighting the legitimate 140 career 140 guys like Prograis or Taylor or Ramirez right away. I see Ryan fighting the guys that come up from 135 first. That's my opinion, because there's so many and they're all in the same class and their all names are attached to each other. What's up, Maker? I see you. What's up, Charles Gonzalez? What's happening, man? I see you. I feel like that's the more realistic fight. Rolly Ramirez. They can sell it. There's sparring footage of them. They're both wild. They're both powerful punchers. That's a good fight. That's actually a good fight. It's dangerous for both, and I'm expecting a knockout in that fight from one of them, one or the other. I'm expecting a knockout. I would actually be leaning a little bit towards Ryan for that fight. I know they both got knocked out by Tank, and I know that Rolly did a little better than Ryan, but I am expecting Ryan to win that fight if they were to fight. Rolly doesn't have the IQ or the technique that Tank has. So Ryan would have a easier time. Let me not say easier, but he would have a better time using his fundamental. He being the more fundamentally sound in that fight would be the advantage. Yeah. That would be great. That would be a great fight. You know what? They'll do that fight and find a way to make that shit a pay-per-view. I guarantee it. If Rolly wins his next fight for the vacant title, they'll fight each other and they'll make that damn fight a pay-per-view. They'll do it. They'll do it for sure. I see that fight being realistic. But yeah, Rolly is just, I just can't even believe he's getting a title shot after getting knocked out by Tank. I mean, he didn't even have a comeback win yet. I'm looking at his resume right now. It's crazy because Rolly, I don't even think he won the fight against Jackson Marinas. He didn't win that fight. Jackson Marinas got robbed. But Rolly did look good against Tank, though. So I'll give him credit for that. But he's known for looking good against Tank. Same with Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz is going to ride that decision win to the very end. I still think he's gonna get a rematch with Tank somehow, some way. Or I think, well, maybe he's not gonna get it, but I think he's gonna. I think he is going to cherry pick for as long as he can, because he don't want to lose to somebody else and get exposed. Having a decision loss to Tank, which was a disputable decision loss, is better than most wins. That's how they're looking at it. I don't agree with that, but it is what it is. This is why they just refuse to fight anyone good right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway. All right, so that's me wrapping up the 135 division. I think I've said everything, made all the points that I wanted to make. I don't think there's anything else that really needs to be said. Loma Devin Haney is next. Uh, I'm sure Shakur's is going to sit and wait and see if he can get the winner of that fight. That's Shakur's plan. I think he's just going to wait and see if he gets the winner of that. And I think they're going to entertain a Tank Haney or Loma fight. Maybe they'll entertain it after, we got the winner of that fight. But that's the way I see it. You know, yeah, that's pretty much it. Ryan's going to move up to 140. Then that's that. I think Tank, if he does not fight Shakur or Haney or Loma, I could see a Frank Martin fight happening. I could see that happening. I could see a Frank Martin fight happening. I think that's very, very realistic. He's over there with PBC already. It'll be very easy to make the fight. And if he doesn't fight any of those top ring guys or Devin Haney, I see Frank Martin. I see Isaac Cruz rematch. I hate to say it, but I'm just putting it out there. If it happens, remember I told you that. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless they can pull somebody down from 140, that's all I'm really looking at right now. That's all I'm really thinking about. Now if Tank were to move up again, I don't even think that's gonna happen, man. I'm just gonna keep it at 135. If he doesn't fight Haney Loma winner, I see it being Frank Martin or Isaac Cruz. All right. That's the way I look at it. All right. Dave Morrell, what do I have my thoughts on him? I think he beats everyone until he fights the top tier guy. I said this yesterday. I think Morrell will beat everyone unless he fights like Benavidez or Canelo or something like that. It would have to, he's not losing to anybody else, in my opinion. I'm even at a point where I'm leaning towards him beating Caleb Plant. That and that's not my final view on that, but I got to see him get exposed some kind of way. He's clearly just gonna keep beating everybody up until he gets there. He's gonna beat everybody up. Unless we see him get exposed in some kind of way. Oh, I would love to see Andre. Oh, I would love to see that fight. Oh, make that fight. Make that fight. But Jamal Charlo, I saw him do an interview saying he spoke to Andre for like an hour. And he's saying he wants to fight. So I know Jamal's gonna come back and have a tune-up, but I can see that fight happening. They might as well fight each other, man, because every other fight is at 168 and it's a tougher fight. If Andre, Jamal, holds the title still. If he can pull Andre back down to 160, that's what he would probably be looking to do. Or they might just have it at 168. Regardless, they need to fight each other, man. They should fight each other. They should be. I'm not even talking about that no more. I've been talking about that for years. Chemo says Jamal will fight Carlos Adames first. Yeah. Yeah, he would have to if he's going to keep that belt. But Jamal is going to be returning, I think, in June, he said. So we just got to wait and see. I'm talking about Jamal, not Jamel. All right. I'm out of here, guys, man. Y'all have a good night, man. I'm getting some rest. Got to work in the morning, man. It was a fun weekend. Again, thank you for everyone that came by last night and supported the channel. And shout out to everyone that donated to the channel as well. All the new subscribers. Enjoy the channel. And please, again, on your way out, hit that like button for me if you like the content. And I think I'm going to get into the Devin Haney Lomachenko breakdown. I think I just want to get that one out of the way. So I'm going to do a little bit more film study, and I'm going to come back with that. I think that might be the next breakdown I'll do. All right. Y'all have a good night and have a great week. Peace.